Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight, whenever you happen to be seeing this, I would like to offer your elemental energy reading for the month of October of 2025 for the elemental energy of fire. And fire covers the zodiac signs of Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. If you're interested as to why I read for the zodiac or the elements versus the zodiac, there's a link in the description to a video I made about that. There's also a natal chart if you've never had your charts read. It's a very informative, tool to give you an idea of what the 12 houses are, what the little signs and symbols mean. It gives you 10 to 20 pages of a description of what all that stands for. There's also a section in there on your elemental alignment. Generally, we have two dominant energies. Some people it's three, but generally it's two dominant and then two lesser. And so you can pick which video you watch or which combination, depending on what your highest energies are. And that's one way to look at that. Otherwise, we'll get started here with our I-ching, and I cast the hexagram before the video. And fire, you have number 50, which is a sacrificial vessel. This could be ominous. A sacrificial vessel, supreme success is the text that associates. Now we'll go through and break down each of the lines, because really what this is saying is fire, the sacrificial vessel is something that carries something to the divine. And when it says supreme success, that means whatever's going on this month, depending on what direction you want to put your energy, there's going to be a fair amount of success. Things are lining up. You could say that the stars are aligned for you. So we'll take a peek here at the first line, our foundational line. To rid it of decaying remnants of meat, the vessel is turned upside down. It is not shameful to take a concubine for the sake of bearing sons. Gotta remember, this was written many hundreds of years ago. The basic is, though, a lot of these times you'd have these vessels that would be at temples or something like that, where they would just keep putting in their offerings, and it would get a little fragrant. So this could be one of those situations where it might be a good idea to purge some things out of your life in October fire. This might be a good call to remove the stuff that no longer serves, figure out if it's a habit needs to be broken, or maybe the house is just cluttered with, years and years of clothes that one day I'll fit into or one day might come in fashion. I heard that one growing up. Maybe it's just time to get rid of some of that stuff, thin down the mess a little bit, because something is causing some rougher energy is what we got going on. And then it's not shameful to take a concubine for the sake of bearing sons. In this particular instance, the energy I'm getting is not literal. It's more of, it's not a big deal if you happen to take on a second project. We all have those big main goals that we're shooting for, but in this situation, that goal might be so far off or might not be attainable in the current situation, and this is saying it's fine if you have another goal, work towards that one instead. So our next line is, the ting of possesses solidity. My enemies are in difficult times, and there is nothing they can do to me. Good fortune. Which, this is actually awesome, because a lot of the times when we go through life, we end up with these, we'll call them people, because sometimes it's not always great people, that are coming in to cause chaos, and it's like, I just have this goal. I'm leaving you alone. What are you doing here? And this is saying, right now, they are so busy with their own chaos, it's called karma, that they don't have time to interfere with where you're going. So this is a really good time to proceed forward with either your main goal or your secondary goal, because everyone else is kind of busy not paying attention to you, fire, which in some ways is kind of a good thing for you. Your third place line, the handles of the ting have been detached, so it's difficult to move. The fat of the pheasant is not eaten. Sudden rain comes, regret wanes. Ultimately, there is good fortune. Okay, there's a lot of little tags here. Let's see what we got going on, because the ting is the sacrificial vessel. So we have a delay due to some remisses So something that you are thinking about that you're kind of regretting is where that's coming. And so the handles of the ting have been detached, so it's difficult to move. Meaning there might be something from the past that you just aren't quite ready to let go of, like an emotional thing. And sometimes you just have to hold on to those just because there's no point in fighting your own memories on it. The fat of the pheasant is not eaten, so that's another tag here. Because of our remissness, an opportunity goes to waste. So because you're holding on to something, it could actually help you, or not help, hinder you in going the direction you're headed. And with the rain coming in, it's the good fortune that heaven's nourishing your plans. So overall, what we have happening here, I'll try to start speaking proper English. What we have here is that there's going to be some difficulties going on, and a lot of it's coming from the fact that there's something that you're just not ready to let go of yet. And that happens. That works. Even though that's going on, it might make you miss one opportunity. But with heaven's blessing, that's where we have the rain and good fortune coming in. You will still be able to succeed, it just might take you a little bit longer. So even if there's something you don't want to let go of, the universe is not going to punish you for that. You might have to take a little bit longer because the easier path that they had offered, you're not ready for. That's fine. Everyone's soul's on a different journey. So it's still saying you're going to end up where you want to be, but it might take just a second longer. So the legs of the ting snap. The prince's food is overturned and his person soiled misfortune. So this could be someone who is a little bit higher up in the ranks. Could be a manager, it could be a supervisor. It could be something in life that you're wanting to attain, like someone you've put on a pedestal type of an energy here. And this is where things may not go the way they're supposed to, and that's where this person that you've had on a pedestal falls off. The person who's above you, you've looked up to, fails, screws up. And it could come across as misfortune because if you're too close to this person, like in the work situation, it could actually spill over where you might end up with a little oops on you as well, just because of that person's mistakes, because you're associated with them. But again, misfortune in this aspect is saying pay attention and look out for this. This is not saying this is going to happen. It's more of if you start seeing things getting a little wobbly, you start seeing those legs start to snap, move, get away from the situation. So your fifth place line, the ting has yellow handles with golden rings attached. Righteous persistence brings reward. And we have a note here. So what this is meaning is now that you have fixed the ting, you've put the things back in order, you've added some protective measures, which is the extra rings, and that allows you to not mess this up later, or not let someone else mess it up for you, because the legs falling off, that was the prince's deal. That wasn't you. You just happened to be too close to the mess at the time. This one's saying you've fixed this problem, and now it's got the golden handles with the rings, and righteous persistence brings reward. This is why when I talk about the I-ching and I talk about other stuff, you want to stick with that righteous persistence in everything that you do, which is holding strong to your morals and your ethics. You're treating people the way you want to be treated. Go back to the Wiccan Reed or even Aleister Crowley's comment, and harm you none, do what you will, and that kind of energy. You want to make sure that you're holding this higher standard for yourself. Other people they're doing them, but you're doing you, so you need to make sure, again, general readings here, but when they talk about the righteous persistence and the righteous path in the I-ching, it's not so much about a religion, it's the spiritual practice behind your life. So you want to make sure that's staying clean. So our capstone here is, the ting has jade handles, great good fortune. Everything is now favorable. Jade is a stone that imparts health. It imparts prosperity, longevity. In some cases, in some references, it talks about jade being a stone of immortality. So the ting having the jade handles is really saying you're going to be able to succeed now because you are able to hold on to the righteous persistence. You've been doing all of the right things, and now you're able to step into this higher state because you've been doing what is right, what is ethical, moral, all of that fun stuff Even when faced with challenges, you still held true to what is really who you are. Is that easy? Not normally. Straight up honest with you, that is not always easy, but it's important because you're on a path. Obviously, you watch these kind of videos, you're on a spiritual path, you're on a spiritual journey, you have questions at least. So this is where you step into that higher state and really move into spiritual success. And it may manifest, depending on what you're doing and who you are, into physical success. So this is a really good month for our fire family from the I-ching. So hop into the cards here and see what they have for filling in some space a little bit. We read week by week, and each week we look at a guide or guardian, we look at a message from source, and then we get a little more clarity from the tarot. And there's approximately 5 weeks in October, so we'll do a set of 5 readings. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button, drop a like on the video, comment, let me know your thoughts, feelings, and opinions. Also, if you see something different with the cards and you feel comfortable doing so, please feel free to share your intuitive guidance in the comments down below, because you might actually inspire someone with your words that I may have missed, or my guides were like, that's not for you to speak. So, something to think about. With that, your first week's guide or guardian is the Rhinoceros with Archangels Sandalphon and Rachiel. Be strong and courageous. So this is the energy where you get to stand out from the world. You're not going to be in the quiet section. Your what's the term here? Haters, there we go. They're busy doing other things, but other people are paying attention because you're holding true to this balancing energy. And you're holding true to what your guides, your soul, the morals, ethics, the righteous path, and this is allowing you to be as strong as you can possibly be and be able to be courageous enough to be authentic. That's not an easy thing in today's world, especially in today's world. Way too much fake. But you get to stand out because the first week of October, your guides are bringing you up saying, you got this, fire. There's no reason to hide. There's no reason to run away. And they're going to help protect you and guide you through this stepping out of your comfort zone energy. Again, it doesn't have to be drastic. It could be just taking those next steps that you're not sure of. With the I-ching, it's really saying your success is based on how far you're willing to travel this month spiritually, and sometimes that may mean physically. And the Rhinoceros is coming in to say, let's start off with a bang. Your message from Source is the double mission, Lightworker Starseed, serving the world by being you. You came into this planet, into this existence, with a goal in your soul. Now, your computer brain, the thing, this pink blob, gray blob, whatever it is, lives in here, it's not going to be on the same page because it's got a whole different set of programs. But your soul, the true part of who you are, knows what you came here to do. And I've had a question about this before with this type of a card. Your soul's journey is going to be unique for you, and there's not going to be just one mission. You've got us, most of us have several. There's some that have way more than the average person does. So it's not a matter of, oh, I have to find exactly this one thing. No, you need to figure out what path you're on in the moment and follow it out. And sometimes your following it out is just taking the next steps. Sometimes, for those who deal with some of the more rough mental states, sometimes those next things that are so next path level is taking a breath, taking a break, doing something to feed your soul. Watch the funny movie, go out in the mountains and take a hike. Whatever it is, this is your permission from the universe, because sometimes we need that little bump from someone else to be like, I can't do it because I don't have permission. Universe is saying you have permission, especially this first week of October. Take the time. Go do something fun. Go to a straw maze or something. Take the kids. It'll be great. Trust me, those are fun. Your message from the tarot is the number 12. This is perspective. In a lot of decks, this would be the Hanged Man. It is Archangel Kamael. There's a better way. Pause for reflection and insight. Dare to be different. The Hanged Man comes in when it's time to look at a situation from a new perspective. If it's one thing that you've always looked at this certain specific way, take a note out of your Aries family. They never stick to anything in the same way because they're flashy, they're fiery, they get everything started, and then they change to something different. So this is really saying it's time for you to step out. It's time to change how you've been doing things. The way it's been done, that was fine for that time. But now it's time to try something different. So this first week is really, Fire, you stepping up, stepping out, and rattling your cage a little bit, shaking some things up, seeing what happens. And that ties into the I-ching because it's time to dump out the soured stuff because it's no longer there to help you. It's served its purpose and now it needs to go. So your second week is the Dove. Spread the message of peace and harmony with Archangel Bakpi. This one is about finding inner peace. This is an energy of finding the joy in the divine that's around you. And it's not, I have to go to church and I have to do this and I have to do, those are the rituals that go along with it. But this energy is really saying you actually get to connect on your own. And when you do connect into God's source divine, however you see this energy, you're starting to spread that message of joy, of harmony, of being in balance. When you find that balance, you find your peace. Is that going to be a long-term thing? Possibly, but not usually, because you find your moment of balance and you're like, I have succeeded. The world comes in and goes, boop, and then you're no longer succeeded. But this is the journey of life, this is that constant tug and pull and up and down on the seesaw, because we're here to learn. We're here to grow. And the Dove is saying, now it's time, you've learned a lot, Fire, and it's time to share what you have learned in the energies of peace and harmony and balance. Allow Source to bring in the messages that speak to your soul. Allow the Source to bring through the messages to share with others. And it doesn't have to be bombastic where you're like starting a channel or you're preaching it from the sidewalk. It could be just telling that cashier thank you. It could be opening the door for someone because they have their arms full. It could be something as simple as that. And you never know what that could change someone's day. Your message from Source is the Messenger. Sirius energy, the planet or the constellation, bringing harmony and balance. Okay, this is your guide, finding peace and harmony, and this is your message from Source, which is bringing peace and harmony and balance. Fire, this second week is really about you allowing what you have done inside to glow out from you. You have banked the fire, the power is there, the ability to create is there, and now you're letting it out. It doesn't have to be like massive. You don't have to go, like I said, you don't have to preach it from the corner, but it's time to show the things that you've been learning. It's time to allow those questions like, oh, I don't talk about my spirituality. And if they ask about it, you can talk about it gently. Do things appropriately. Don't just jump out there and be like, I'm following this, because that might be a little weird. But do the things that you're comfortable. See where spirit leads you. When you've got energy coming up saying you are here to spread the message of peace and harmony and joy and balance, that is special. That's not something you see very often, especially two in the same week, because it's saying this is where you're at in the second week of October is you're being led to share with others, which is huge. Your message from the tarot is the 10 of Aries, so this is air energy. There is so very much to be grateful for: financial success, promise of retirement, rich and rewarding family life. So this is saying because of the work that you have done, you've been able to walk beyond where you thought you could be. You now see how abundant your life is in the moment and how abundant it will become in the end. And that's where you're being able to spread that harmony and that peace, allowing others to see the virtues of the righteous path or righteous persistence comes in because they're seeing your successes as well. There's times you may not even realize what success you actually are carrying, but other people are watching going, oh, that's how that happens. And Fire, I'm getting a really strong energy right now saying, and you make it look easy. You've got this. So have fun with this second week because there's going to be a lot of opportunities to share your knowledge and wisdom. So have fun with that. Play with it a little bit and see what universe does. And I use this term because it's easier for me. The gods love to remind us how far we've come, and sometimes they do it in some of the most wild ways. stuff falls into place and you're like, well, that was pretty cool. And everyone else is like, that could technically be called miraculous. What's going on? Because you've done all the work behind the scenes, it looks easy. It looks simple. It looks miraculous to other people. And fire, you've been doing the work. Why not allow the source to show others and allow them to start on their journeys, or maybe encourage them to build their own or on their journeys. So your third week is the kangaroo. Be a force for good with archangels Raquel, Gersisa, and Sandalphon. This is really about tapping into your heart. This third week, you've been doing the harmony work. This week, it's about getting into your heart chakra. When you are in your heart chakra, you're in balance, because the heart balances the 3 above and the 3 below. So when you get into your heart and you allow that to go forward, you become a force for positivity. You be a force for smiles. You be a force for the benefit of others. And with Archangel Raquel and Sandalphon specifically, you're really doing things in the physical world to bring about positive changes. You don't have to be one of those people out there like telling everyone what you're doing. It's just the simple things. Sometimes it's as simple as choosing to buy the glass bottle versus the plastic. It could be something as simple as holding the door open, tipping the waitress when you normally don't tip because I don't need to, or whatever it is. Being that force for good is in the simplicity of life, in the gentle ways that we interact with each other. And this energy of the kangaroo, Gersisa, Raquel, and Sandalphon are coming in to help you remember it doesn't have to be loud. It doesn't have to be everyone knows. It can be the simple, gentle things. And that's really the importance of what this energy is in the third week. Your message from Source is star bathing, light body, crystalline grids, transmissions, and activations. This is where you start to actually share on an energetic level. The second week, you are allowing it to glow out from you, being the messenger of God's Source Divine. And in this week, you're allowing yourself to actually bring in more. You're tapping into this energy. Source wants to say that you have the gift of being able to be an open channel. And that doesn't mean like medium channel. It's more of the channel bringing in those light codes, bringing in that higher frequency. If you're still in a place where it's warm enough, being outside in the sun is a great way to do that. Just be out there for a few minutes. Listen to the birds, or lack thereof. Listen to the wind in the trees. Listen to the leaves as they fall through the trees. Listen to whatever critters are about, even if it's neighbors. Really just be in the moment and allow yourself that pause. Then it allows your energy to rebuild. It's you're basically bathing for the soul. And that's the star bathing concept. You can go out at night. It's a little chilly right now where I'm at, but you'd still go out at night and do that too. But the energy I'm getting right now for fire is this is something to do in the sun. So allow Source to communicate in the most gentle way, which is literally being outside in the light of the celestial star, our sun, or in the energy of the galactic stars and the moon and all that. But spend some time outside and spend some time in contemplation. Not with earbuds in or any of that. Just exist in the moment is what I'm hearing. Your message from the tarot is the Knight of Ariel, trustworthy, understanding, devoted, and funny. Most fire have a sense of humor. There's so much to accomplish. Make a detailed plan. Being watched over by someone kind. You're in a state now where things are settling down for you, fire. You've done a lot of work. Things are moving forward. You're shining. You're glowing. You're bringing in all this positivity. But it doesn't mean you have to wear yourself out either. And when you have someone who's looking out for you, it's interesting because the energy I'm getting for you is you're the one down here, not on the horse. It means that you can do the things that you want to do. You get to enjoy life because you're actually being protected. You're actually being watched over. And it talks about that within the I-ching as well, because things are going the right way. You don't really have to worry about stuff. Source is doing what it does, and you're in a really good place. So this month for fire is looking really awesome. Good job, fire. You're going to have so far a very positive month. Let's take a peek into the fourth week and make sure we keep this going. Our fourth week's guide or guardian is the hedgehog. Be a magnet for light, love, and joy with Archangel Gabriel. This is the reminder that just because you always are sharing all of your light and joy, that doesn't mean you can't draw others into you. When you start to vibrate at these higher frequencies, when you start bringing in this higher energy, it actually attracts others like you. And when you bring in 2 candles into a room, does the room get brighter? Now add a 3rd candle. How about a 4th? This is what they're saying, is the hedgehog is calling to build your community. Doesn't have to be big. Again, your community is where you reside, where you exist. And like, for a personal anecdote for me, I have at my day job, I have this weird little community that is starting to be built, and it's strange. But we talk about spiritual things while working our normal job. We integrate a lot of this into how we interact with our customers. There's times you're frustrated, don't get me wrong, you're always going to have that. But when you start to really bond with people at a spiritual level, the shift is there, and you're starting to share that light. You're sharing the joy, the compassion, sometimes the frustration, because you're in it together. And that's what the hedgehog is wanting to bring in, is you're not doing this by yourself. You're doing a lot of the inner work. You're doing your own inner work, but it's drawing so many more people to you that the light that you share is actually lighting up your neighborhood. It's lighting up your environment where you exist. And by doing that, you're anchoring more and more of the divine's presence, which in reality is helping Gaia, because she's able to help glow as well. So it's the little things that make the big differences. So your message from Source is the 7 star sisters, birthing creation, the tapestry of life and expression. How you show up in the world is your decision. It's your expression of life. But you are here to dance in the stars. You're here to dance to the beat of your own drum. But what's funny is when you start dancing to the beat of your own drum, you notice other people are listening to the same drum and they're dancing alongside you. And this allows that sharing of insight. It's the sharing of expression. The hedgehog is saying, build your community. The 7 star sisters are saying, you already have it, you just haven't noticed it yet. So this is really positive and fun for fire, because you're now getting to really pay attention to what's happening. That's where that now energy is coming in, where you're living in the moment. You're not living, oh, I have to worry about tomorrow, I have to do this. You're not needing that anymore. There's a lot of positive going on here, and I'm not getting any real negative aspects to fire this month. Definitely stay focused on the right things, your goals ahead of time, like the I-ching says. There might be somebody else that's having problems, so dodge that. But other than that, you're doing really well here. Okay, so air is really going to be your companion through this month. The 4 of Ariel is your message from the tarot. When you give, you also receive, being resistant to changes, extremes in how you spend or save money. This is really saying, even though everything's going well, don't get overconfident. Make sure that you're staying focused on the right things. He's at a temple. The angel's hanging out over here. So you're still in this process of growth and change and expansion. And it's the energy that's coming up with this one is just don't get cocky. Like, yes, things are going well. You're the golden child of the month, so to speak. But that doesn't mean that you won't make mistakes. Even the I-ching talks about there will be a situation where you could get some soup splashed on you, so to speak. You don't want to be too close to that if you start seeing it happening. And that doesn't mean, oh, you're just going to abandon that person. The person that is spilling the soup, like the I-ching talks about, they're the ones that did the problem. They made this problem. That's not your problem. And that's why they're saying make sure that you're out of the way. And the 4 of Ariel is basically saying when you give, you also receive. And how's it say? Being resistant to changes and extremes in how you spend or save. The energy that's coming in there is being resistant to the change of, but I've always helped this person, but it's not your time right now to do that. It is their time to figure out their own karma. So if you get involved in it, you might get stained by their karma. So you have to be careful there. And when it says spending and saving, you also can apply that to energy. Where are you putting your energy? Are you putting your energy on the growth? Or are you putting it towards someone else to protect and save them from a problem, even though it may end up slapping you as well? Again, you're not losing your success. This is just a detour that might be unnecessary. Your 5th week's guide or guardian is the energy of the horse with archangels Christiel and Mother Mary. Care for others and let them be free. Again, you can look out for them, but you cannot make their decisions for them. Caring for them is showing them compassion when they do mess up. It is showing the righteous persistence, the righteous path of ethical and moral behaviors. You're not gossiping about them. You're not talking smack behind their back. But you're also not making their decisions for them, and you're not protecting them from the consequences of their decisions. In this image, you see the baby horse, baby unicorn. But in your situation, it's because there's been someone in a higher position that is messed up, and you're usually there to help clean things up. This is not your time to do that, fire. That is their decision, and it's their karma to clean. You getting involved just means you have to clean up karma that now you didn't need to. So that's where you can show compassion and sympathy, and you can help them after the fact, but in the situation at the moment, it's not your problem. So your message from source is wait. It is not time yet. Things are being woven. When we look at the patterns in life, because there's always a pattern, where do you fit? Where's the world fit? How does it all fall together? When it says to wait, it's saying that this may not be the time for swift action. Again, that's that energy of the prince spilling stuff all over themselves. This is not the time to rush in. This is your time to take a breath and watch. Wait. Live in the quiet stillness of the now moment. Fire, this month is all about you connecting with your tribe. We'll see what the tarot has to say here in a second. You connecting with your tribe, finding your balance, and allowing others to see this. Allowing who you have become shine brightly. And the card leapt from the deck. So, must be the important card. And when you start to allow yourself to shine in that way, you see the patterns at play. And sometimes those patterns are saying this is not your action to take. You get to observe it. You get to understand it. And you can help along the way after the fact. But the event that is occurring, spilling of the soup, has to happen, and you shouldn't interfere. Doesn't mean you can't. Just remember, if you do, you might get spilled on too. Your last week's message from the tarot, this card leapt from the deck, is the King of Michael. Michael works with fire, your energy, principled, rational, ambitious, and respected. Wisdom and objectivity are important. Stay in your integrity, a situation that calls for honest and open communication. In this last week, you're going to come to understand why you didn't want to get involved. And then you can also see the compassion of being there to support after the fact. The event needed to happen to reset a balance, to possibly redress a wrong that had been done, and also to teach a lesson. The lesson was not yours, it was someone else's. And Michael is coming in as an archangel of very strong morals and principles to say, you did the right thing, fire, by stepping back. This is not your turn to be involved. So whatever's going on in this, the end of the 4th week and through the 5th week, pay attention to that energy, fire, because something's going on with this prince energy from the I-ching, and it's not going to be something that's going to be great for them, but they're saying, just as a heads up, kind of like, here's the traffic cone, don't fall in the pothole. There's something that could stain, if so, don't get too close to the situation. You can clean up after, but during the event itself, you don't want to get too close to that. And like I said, it could be a supervisor, it could be something like a mentor where someone's falling off of a pedestal, and that's that energy of like, oh, I can rush in. Don't rush in. Let this happen. And you can rush in afterwards, but let the event occur because it's needed to happen. So with that, I will let you all go. Have a great month of October. Fire, you have got a lot of positive everything going on. The stars are definitely in your favor for this month of Samhain. So have fun, do spooky stuff, and I will see you in the next video.